Wurfel Luxuriate Hour.
Good evening and welcome to Drive Bangalore. This is the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour. Well, good evening, guys. Hi.
Hi.
All right, I'm really excited about having this very special guest with us today on the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour. Just going to tell you a little bit about him. This is Mr. Rajesh Shivaram, and he decided to go independent and set up techno architecture back in 2003 in the midst of real estate boom. It's been 17 years now, yeah?
Yes, that's right, Jane.
All right, I'm really excited about having you on my show, and every single week we have a new architect who comes in and sort of blows our mind with a different sort of a story. So your design story, if you had to really pin it down to what it has been, and in general your timeline in these 17 years, what have been the highlights, what would your story read like for anyone listening in?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jane. Thanks for having me here. First of all, I started techno architecture in 2003 in the midst of a real estate boom. And then as soon as I passed out from college, so I had the liberty to have a new project for myself, which I started off as a freelancer. So I'm as a person, I'm very ambitious, very passionate, and I have an eye for detail. So that really propelled me to actually start techno architecture. And fortunately, my first ever project, which I did in my career, we did a house in Vijayanagar. So that won us the first Young Architect Award for the state. So after that, the rest is history. So there's no looking back after that.
Some of your projects have been extremely crazy. I am going to talk about some of them as the time progresses. But in terms of awards, there's so many interesting awards that you've picked up. If you had to pick up one story of one work that you did that you're super proud of and that people listening in will relate, because everybody today is all about beautiful homes. But not just beautiful. In your case, I see technology and the old school sort of a vibe coming together even in your office. So what would be one of those awards you picked for a work, for a job that you thought was like super well done on your side?
So that's a good question though. So I have a couple of awards to be listed that way. But the most important one would be for the spiritual library, what we did way back in 2006. So that was a project called Maya Jug. So it was a spiritual library which was designed. So the idea there was, there was no use of steel and glass. So completely eco-friendly kind of an architecture which was very organic that way. So we used about 65 materials all over the country. So I personally went there, sourced them, and we had one of the greatest contractors, probably who's my mentor even today, Mr. Srinivas from Balaji Construction. So I learned a lot from him. So it was all on-site kind of a decision, which propelled the project to its great heights.
What is a spiritual library though? It sounds really cool. I'm sure it's not still around because it's an old project, but what was it?
So this was a spiritual library which we designed for a client called Mr. Manjunath. So when he came to us, he wanted to put across, basically there's no religion as such to depict anything. So it was a very neutral kind of a space, we had to create a lot of spaces for books and then CDs, anybody could become members, come pay a small fee and then become members, then use the space, then chill around here, then spend the whole day, there's a small coffee shop which we could probably have a small snack on. And then, a lot of students used to come here to study because, they were not able to study at home. So this was a beautiful place. So in everything, in a nutshell, it was a beautiful space, a very spirited place. That's what I would say the Maya Jug place was.
Well, I think you're a spirited person and I'm really excited about having you in the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour right now. This is Mr. Rajesh Shivaram. I'm in a really, really cool office as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Jane.
All right, so this is the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour. So the definite question is, something that a lot of people have been thinking about and redefining in 2020. Luxury, the word. What does it mean to you today, especially, when you sit in an office which is like super unique? So tell us about your office and about your definition of luxury and what do you think luxury should be for people who are looking at building their first and second homes?
Thank you so much for the question, Jane. So first of all, I would say luxury for me would be categorized in two levels. One is, the luxury in terms of the materialistic approach, and the second one would be luxury in terms of what stimulates your senses. So for me, I would go with the latter because for me, stimulus of the senses is very important. Because, when you talk about the nature, because for me, again, designing something as being part of nature, restoring the old buildings, just like my office, which is about 100 years old. So we've not really broken down anything. So we've kept the same style and the charm to it. So anybody who walks in, from outside, they would never realize the building because it's a very contemporary building from outside. But when you actually walk in, it's a 100-year-old effect. So we have a lot of bamboo, we have a lot of wood, we have a lot of red oxide floor, we have a lot of stone. So it's all the materials which have to do with eco-friendly materials. So that's the kind of approach I deal with my projects. And fortunately, I've been blessed with clients, who kind of understand my wavelength, who are able to kind of gel with my thinking, and then that's how the projects sink in perfectly. So having that, nature is very, very important because I give a lot of respect to nature.
That's amazing. So when you say nature and you say that, you restore old properties, sometimes you establish brand new ones, like you were talking about a project where there's like 120 villas or so. So depending on what the project is, do you then redefine luxury every single time? Is it a different sort of a mold and a mood for every new project that you do? And is that how somebody has to look at their home as well?
No, absolutely. I would agree to that perfectly. See, the thing is, we just don't do eco-friendly architecture because the kind of work I do, I have a lot of luxury homes also. To be honest, I've been tagged as a celebrity architect in Bangalore because I do a lot of politicians and film stars' homes in Bangalore.
Means you're making a lot of money.
I wish I would, but that's not the case. Right. All right. So when you talk about that, when it comes to a super luxury house, it again depends on the materials and the finishes what we use.
Right.
So that again depends on the client selections when we go and try to perceive the concept what we have initially taken into account. So that's when it all comes into the luxury space.
As a celebrity architect, what's the most interesting work that you have done?
We have done luxury homes for the late actor Mr. Ambarish, so that was a very personal project to me. And then we have done the actor Sudeep's house in JP Nagar. That's another very personal project to me. So yeah, so those two are very, very close to my heart.
So when you do projects like those and you spend time with these people, there is a certain sort of an emotional bond or a connect. So, going back to my previous comment, luxury is never equal to money, but about an emotional sort of a connect and a value, right?
Yes. Absolutely, I totally agree with it because money can't buy happiness, honestly, but a home can give you happiness. So that's very important, when it comes to luxury.
Happy homes, if you want them, Wurfel.in or Wurfel Living Studio in Banaswadi with the architects every single week. Well, I'm really excited about this architect. This is Mr. Rajesh Shivaram sitting right across me. Mr. Rajesh, for anybody who's building their first or second home, the entire idea of the show every single week is to kind of give them the right sort of impetus and ideas, to really formulate the right sort of structure in their head to understand how they can create a home that is a happy home, which is exactly where we left off a while ago. So what would be a couple of tips to people who are creating this exclusive home as to how they do it?
Okay. Thanks, Jane, for the question. First of all, I would like to say that clients' homes are their extensions of their personality. So, first of all, when they come to an architect, it's always nice that they do a little background check on the architect because there are many, many new architects in the state and the country who are doing fabulous work. So it's always nice to do a little bit of background check on them and probably see their work prior, meeting them. So make sure that, you choose the right architect, first and the foremost important. And second thing I would like to say is, the more input the client gives an architect, the better the project would come out. Because, the architect has to really understand the sensibility, the emotion quotient of the client before giving them the solution. I mean, in common words, I try to tell all my clients, I'm like the doctor of the house, So unless you tell me your problems, only then I'm able to give you the right prescription,
What's been the weirdest problem that somebody has come up with? You were telling me about a house that you built a couple of years ago that won awards, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks so much. So this is a house which we did in Nagar, which is about approximately a 400 square feet plot, which is about 220 feet by 20 feet. And when the client came to us, basically he had two properties. One was in a 60-40 property in Kengeri and another one in Nagar. So the budget was the same though. But when we started talking to the client and realizing his potential, so we realized that he's emotionally connected to the smaller property because he had a lot of his siblings and brothers and sisters, in the vicinity of about 1.5-2 kilometers. And then that was his ancestral property done by his father. So he didn't want to let go that easily. So we took that as a challenge and redesigned the entire space and created a home for him in steel because the road width was only about 18 feet. So we didn't have a lot of options to place the materials in the site. So then that entire property was done in steel, and then fortunately it had a swimming pool, it had a lift, along with a 3-bedroom house in a 400 square feet plot. I think it was very challenging, and luckily it did well for us.
That's fantastic. It also won you some awards, and that too from Japan.
Yeah, we won 2 awards for it, one in Switzerland and one in Japan for the Young Architect Award.
And this was all about minimalism?
Yes, absolutely minimalism.
Minimalism in a small space.
That's
totally possible in these days, right?
Absolutely possible in these days, because the real estate prices are so high that people want to build less and live a comfortable life.
And also kind of still make it a statement sort of a home, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, that's something that is possible. Wurfel.in, check them out if you want to create beautiful homes. If you want to check out their studio, Wurfel Living Studio in Banaswadi. This is the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour, and I feel like I'm sitting in one of the most unique properties and offices in Bangalore, that too in Baswangudi. I absolutely love this space. You want to tell everybody just like how your office looks in case they're just listening in and maybe they want to visit sometime?
Absolutely, everybody is welcome to my office in Techno Architecture, Baswangudi. It's a very old structure, so I think we've retained most of the charm of the 100-year-old structure which exists here. So I think, you guys should come out and check it out sometime.
It's called Techno Architecture, so when you see it from outside, it looks extremely modern, and then you come in and you see a 100-year-old house, 100 plus years old house, right? And this is Mr. Rajesh Shivaram on the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour. Hi guys!
Hi!
Alright, the Wurfel team is here as well. Every single week we try and take you, into the insights and the mind of a new architect, and it's just absolutely brilliant the time that we've been having on the show. Mr. Rajesh, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Alright, but back to the question at hand. This is the Wurfel Luxuriate Hour. You have worked with Wurfel. The whole idea of this collaboration was to understand, the minds of architects who work with them and who will work with them, because this is a made in India brand with a very European sensibility, and it's really beautiful to see, how they have grown and prospered and progressed and helped make beautiful Indian homes even more beautiful. What's been the collaboration like, and what are your thoughts on a brand like Wurfel creating this sort of a splash in not such a huge period? This has happened quite quickly.
Yeah, thanks Jane for the question. So when it comes to Wurfel, I would love to say that we've been associated fortunately for many years now, and working on many projects. And honestly, all my clients who have been associated or gone to the stores, they're very, very happy, and they come back with a very positive attitude, saying that since it's made in India, and then the finishes and the quality what they give is as on par with any international standards. Because being a high-end architect, in terms of luxury homes, we used to probably end up going to all the big brands available across the globe, especially in Europe. But since after Wurfel came into picture, so we've kind of changed our mindset that since it's made in India, it's a very positive approach to all the architects here, and all the clients who've been there, they come with such positive response that the personnel working there, the managers, or even the entire team in Wurfel are so knowledgeable, are so friendly, are so easily approachable, for a design solution. So that really makes them stand apart. And I'm really looking forward for the next part of the Wurfel team's new innovation, which is the wardrobe. So I'm very, very keen to use it, and many congratulations to them in the future.
Fantastic. Well, your collaboration with them is something that you're looking forward to, but I'm really looking forward to, all the exciting work that you've, already done and that you're going to be doing. 2021, what's the most exciting thing that you're going to be doing for anybody listening in Bangalore from an architect, perspective?
Well, this is this new home which I'm planning. It's in the initial design stages, which is probably one of the biggest homes Bangalore's ever seen, which is about 55,000 square feet plot in a 65 acre. So that's really I'm looking forward. In fact, that was the competition which we won. So I'm really excited for that in 2021.
Did you just say 55,000 square feet?
Yes, that's correct.
That's fantastic. All the best with everything that you do. I'm sure you're going to be splendid. The Wurfel Luxuriate Hour on 94.3 Radio 1 every single Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. Can I get a woohoo from everybody? Woohoo!